Hi. My name is Jake Ann Jones. Welcome to AfroQuantum Experiences ArtMaker Talks, episode 6. We are broadcasting live from Tampa Bay, Florida. Yay, let's bring on our guests. Tonight, we got 3 guys. We got a lot going on tonight, so we got to keep it moving. So our first guest is Aaron Bowes from Pilot Jones. Our next guest is the wonderful Hiram Hazley, who'll tell you all about himself. He's done so much. And Saint from Dia and Saint. So, yes. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Gang activity.
Yeah.
Okay. So first, I'm going to just ask you guys to just go around and talk a little bit about yourselves. 40 seconds, according to Rudham.
Sweet.
Oh.
You
go first, yes.
My name's Aaron Bowes. I'm from New Jersey originally. I moved here a couple years ago. I've been singing since I could speak cognitively, since I could remember cognitively. I've been into music, singing along to stuff. I like anime. How am I on time? It's like 35 seconds.
I'm so sorry.
I feel like
time tonight.
140 characters or less. Come on, Twitter. Twitter taught me a lot.
Read it.
Okay, are you done?
Yes.
Let's move on. Hiram. Hey, is it Hazley or Hazley?
Hazley.
Hiram Hazley, take it away.
Okay, hello everyone. I've been in this music scene ever since I was 12. I started at 12 years old. I wasn't on the scene at that point. I think I got in there around 15 or 16. I started working locally in St. Pete. And I went to New York for a minute to City College to study a little. Came back to Florida. Then I went up to St. Pete, went up to Daytona. Then I landed a gig at a theme park over in Tampa for about 20 years. So during that time, I've had some good experiences, some pretty bad experiences, but they were all worth it. You know, the music thing is something that we can probably do a lot better at. And together, maybe we can pass the word, but that's my story.
Wow, that was loaded and heavy. We'll have to get back to that. Last but not least, Saint.
What's up, everybody? My name's Saint.
Hey.
I am a musician, filmmaker. I, too, love anime. And
He's
just love creating, infusing everything that I do into art. And, you know, that's really what I'm about. I'm a dad, too. I'm a husband. Young entrepreneur, really just trying to shake it and make moves and build more community togetherness for the most part.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's me. Time.
Great.
Okay, so let's start with, but I need to go back, Hiram. Now I'm already going off script,
okay.
Right? But Hiram, when you tell us what your experience has been, how your music experience, like when you were like, it kind of got dark there. You were like, you said something that you said we have to do a lot better. Can you talk about that?
Well, I think that younger musicians need a mentor of someone that's had some experience. When I was coming up, there were local groups that were fantastic that never, ever made it. And I fell into that same slump because of the people that preceded me. There was a group, I don't know if anyone ever remembers, a group called the Childs of Friendship Train Robbers. Fabulous musicians. Their band leader was from Sam and Dave. It was an old R&B group, Sam and Dave, look them up. Tyrone Johnson, we used to call him Tiny, heavy set cat, plays sax. He brought order to music, and from that chemistry, I created a band. I worked with some guys, and we did the same thing. But no one ever did like we see on Unsung, where those guys got together, went out to California, or went somewhere and went for it. We all stayed here and went through our episodes and wound up still here. So there's some times that I think that with the right mentorship, you can make a young musician's life a lot better because you give them direction. We didn't have direction. I had to learn a lot of things on my own, and a lot of the good things happened totally just as a blessing from God. I was able to sing with a national group, and I had some good experiences with them, and then I had a very bad experience, but I'm not calling a name, but I had an opportunity to meet the only Black president I'm going to ever see in my lifetime, and they kind of shut me out. And that really hurt me to the point that I didn't want to be a part of the group anymore. When I was asked to write charts and do things on my off time for free, I figured I was a part of that group. And when it was time to do something really great, like meet the president, I would love to say, hey, look at me and President Obama in my group. Never can do it because it didn't happen for me. So it left a bitter taste in my mouth. But all in all, I wouldn't want to do anything else with my life other than music, because you can express yourself through music. Which is why I'm kind of sad they took it out of the schools. I'm not sure if it's all the way out, but I don't understand why you wouldn't allow a kid to be able to express himself through something like music, as opposed to tearing this wall down or breaking this glass,
Got some thoughts on that.
Yeah, couple.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. Okay, let's go back to our alphabetical sort of order. And Aaron, do you want to respond both to what you heard and then your own experience? I think you had referred to it as what is the end point or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, so it's for me, like, yeah, so that experience that you're talking about kind of like encompasses like what I guess the questions that I have, being like a young artist, someone who like, I did a lot of musical theater, so I was like, kind of moving and shaking, like I was being directed. Like that's how I got into like performing, doing musical theater and singing in choir. So I had directors, you know what I mean? Like I had directors, people like, go do, move here. We want you to do this, make this sound, da 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 da. After a certain point, I was like, I want to, create my own stuff. I want to be able to direct myself. I want to be able to follow my own direction. But like the thing about it is, it's, what is the, I constantly have to ask myself, like, what is the end goal? And where am I going? And am I okay with going there? I fully like, I'm one of those people that like, I like it, it's I question so many things like celebrity culture and the industry and like the ethics surrounding all of these things. The ethics of like commodification of art within it, like of art in general, of music, the industrialization of music. Like I wrestle with these concepts. They present a lot of pitfalls. I just, as me, I don't want to deal with like, having like bad contracts or people, or like, people kind of glom onto you because they see you're doing something, or like people feel like, I don't want to ever feel like used. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to ever like, I don't like what you were talking, that experience that you just relayed, where it's like, yeah, like I do all this stuff for you guys, but then it's like, when it's important, when it counts, like, or because it was convenient to you at that time, I was no longer like included. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like we see like micro and macrocosms of that happen across the industry. I mean, across life in general, but if we're like gonna focus on like music as a thing, we see that happen all the time. Like we see exploitation is just like kind of a part of the culture of the industry. And like, I really have to wrestle with like how far like I want to go far, not because I want to like be a mega. I just want to pay my bill. I never want to have to. You know how people say they don't look at the price tag when they buy stuff. I want to feel that way about my bills. Do you know what I mean? Like I want to feel that way about like paying myself and supporting myself. And like I have to ask myself, like, is stardom the way to get to that? How do I get to that? Like how can I leverage my passion without homogenizing it and selling it and killing it, and you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. So it's just something that I don't have the answers to these questions, but these are all the things that rattle around in my head as I like am a young person who's like, every time I post something on Instagram and I'm like, I want 1 million people to see this. But, you know, what happens if I become viral? You know what I mean? Like, what happens if I go viral? What happens if, you know what I'm saying? Like, what happens then? I think about that a lot.
We're going to go to Saint. I just want to acknowledge, hey, do you guys see the chats coming up from your windows? Can you see them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because people are talking to y'all. So I just want to make sure you guys are. Yeah. So we have some comments. Superstarring isn't a crime. It's hard to impress people to be added to a team. It's hard not to feel used. LOL, glom is such a good word. Okay. Thank you, Charlie. Hi, Charlie. Thank you, Terry. Felonious Monk. Thank you. Saint, do you want to talk about any of this?
Yeah, I'll chime in to what Hiram was saying about really getting your roots and where you're starting off. I think that's really instrumental for artists, particularly Black artists, who in many cases begin creating out in the margins, kind of away from the mainstream, because there are so many gatekeepers within the industry that will entirely ignore how much impact Black culture has on pop culture and music, etc. So I think by not having some of that leadership to begin with, you're kind of forced to learn a lot of hard lessons as a Black artist. I mean, artists in general, but certainly as a Black artist, and learning those, those lessons and going through challenges. Sometimes it makes it, a little bit harder, but it also takes a lot longer for you to be able to progress. So I think that's why you see a lot of really talented artists really not make it past a certain threshold. Although they have the skills, they just perhaps don't have the business ethics or knowledge to really apply it to themselves and not be taken advantage of, to Aaron's point, or to be commodified. So I think it really takes equal measure of, the talent, or if not, maybe a little bit more so of the business savvy, to really be able to navigate with wisdom and, own your masters. Choose great management for yourself and be able to understand what good character looks like, to be able to stick it, if you're in a crew or a band, and be able to have those, those social skills, right? All of these things really factor into success. And ultimately, when thinking of an end goal, I don't think there's really any one end goal for all that you could really apply and say, hey, it's Jay-Z status or whatever. For some people, that might be it. And I think that's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you're striving for, to really enter, some sort of mogul platform to where you have that sort of influence and whatnot. But really, for me, it's keeping that spark alive. What initially, like right around middle school, what got me into music, cracked open that passion in my soul and was like, this is something that is for me. It's like, that spark that you just want to keep breathing into. That's what I hope on my deathbed is still existing for me.
Mm-hmm. The thing that makes you want to be alive. You know what I mean?
Correct.
That context. Correct. It's like, oh, this is why. I get it.
Yes.
Thank God. I kept asking you why. Why, God?
Yeah, the gift.
And then he'll be like, because Jimi Hendrix. And I'll be like, oh, that's why I'm here. I get it.
Uh-huh.
Hiram, let me ask you a question. Can you talk about this in terms of how important management is? What's been your experience with management? Can you just share about maybe how people find managers? Like, what makes a good manager? Like, what's your experience?
The thing is, like Saint was saying earlier, and I'm so impressed with you guys. You guys are really young. Speaking the way you're speaking lets me know that this thing is still happening, and it's going to grow. Like you guys are the next generation. Peace be with you. It's very important to have someone that, and this is my opinion, of course, it's very important to have someone you trust manage careers, and you have self. It's all about 50-50. You can practice for 8 hours a day. You got to work on business for 8 hours a day. It's 50-50 all the way around, because once you get your chops up and you can perform, now you got to be able to sell yourself. It's a business. I'm playing jazz, I'm playing hip hop, I'm playing dance music. I'm doing everything I can. I'm teaching, I'm running a studio. I'm doing everything I can to keep music as a viable way of making a living. And to make it, you got to really you got to pound the pavement. If you want to get a good manager, try to find someone that has a manager and see if they're taking in new clients, or they can recommend somebody for you. You don't want to waste your talent or wind up hating music because you didn't choose somebody responsible enough to direct you, because it's important. It's a part of your wake up. When you wake up in the morning and you know you got something good to do, you're going to get right up.
Yeah.
But if you're dealing with something black and blue and gloomy, you're not going to want to get up. It's not motivational.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it really is like, yeah, that's like, how do I keep it? Like you guys said, how do I keep it fresh? How do I keep it something that I like, I am, I don't know, like, I don't know. It's not, because I guess it isn't about motivation at that point. It's like discipline. Motivation
Exactly.
like perseveres where discipline perseveres where motivation fails. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it really is true. Like, I do have to, there's so many, even in being an artist, there are so many facets that I have to open myself up to. You know what I mean? Because like you said, like for me, like the main thing is I want to have the best chops. You know what I mean? I want to be able to do the thing. But then for me to get in the door to do the thing, I got to be able to network. I got to have my marketing on tap. I got to have like I got to know what I'm doing. And I got to be able to protect myself. Like for real, because the better you are, it's like the better you are and the more vulnerable you are, it's like the bigger target on your back. It seems like the bigger target on your back for somebody to come in and be like, yo, you possibly can make a lot of money. Give me that money. You know what I mean? Like,
You're gonna notice.
Do you guys have managers? Do you work with managers? What's been your saying, Aaron? What's been your experience like?
You want to go first, Saint?
Yeah, I've worked with a number of different managers over the year as a solo artist, and a couple of different times when I was in a rap crew earlier on in my music career. And since Dia and I formulated the band, we decided that we wanted to do as much as we could until we couldn't do it anymore. And then from that point is where we would ask for representation. So really at this point, it would take the right person with the right resources and the right, I think, spirit, I want to say, to come along in order for us to really want to grow the team in that way. But really, we're just trying to grow our own network and just collaborate. And I think that so much can be done through collaboration and through sharing resources and skills and talents with one another through just being just artists, and good people. You really don't need to, I think, muddy that up too much. Touring and
Right.
things like that, having people come on board for that, I think makes a lot of sense. And we'll kind of see what happens from there. But yeah, for now, we're just kind of rocking it out.
That's kind of been our approach as well. Is really the more independent approach, is like really handle what we can handle, see what we need to handle and handle it. And when we can no longer rise to that challenge, you outsource and you seek and you network and stuff like that. But yeah, that's really been how we're rocking too, because it's like, yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Charlie Funk wrote in, "No gatekeepers online." So in terms of where we are, in terms of how the music project has like moved forward in the world, and now we have all this online stuff and access to, like, how are you guys working that into your program or your project? Hiram, do you have online stuff that you're doing?
I've been kind of blessed that, I was just thinking about that when Aaron was talking about it. I was at that stage, and I'm at a different point in my musical journey. I do gigs locally in clubs and everything, and I very seldom go out looking for a gig, because the gigs I've been blessed to have steady gigs. Like I had a steady Sunday morning playing jazz, and I've been doing that for 10 years. I got a steady Thursday night playing jazz downtown, 10, 15, well, maybe 10 years. And I got this Friday and Saturday thing at different clubs throughout the month, and they're steady gigs. And a lot of the gigs and the private events we get are from those gigs. So I went through the manager route when I was at the age that I thought I wanted to do. I want to go to the big picture. And when you were talking about the end game is kind of behind me when it comes to that dream that I had. I'm an Earth, Wind, and Fire fanatic. And, I will always be. But I'm not out of the game. The reason I do this is because of the passion that I have for it, And what you guys are doing is great, because you have to keep teaching. In order for you to learn, I think you have to keep teaching. And what I was told by a basketball player, people, I guess his brother or some family member was asking him, how do you play? Why do you play? People play basketball professionally because when they play basketball when they don't want to play. They have to get up at 6 in the morning to work out.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be at a certain place at 8, a certain place throughout the day on a regular routine. You do that to yourself. If you're practicing and you get up at 6 in the morning to pick your axe up and you practice for a certain amount of time, the science of it will promote your talents to a different level. Because now it's 6 in the morning, you practicing scales, and all of a sudden agility comes. That's how a lot of these young musicians are really blowing up. They're playing jazz off the hinges now, because they have to play when they don't want to play. I don't want to play this morning, but guess what? You got to play.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you're setting yourself up so that you can be great. Now, once you get that playing, you got to do the same thing, create that same science with your business.
Yeah.
Okay, let me work on this management thing. You can teach your brother or sister to be a manager if you just tell them what you want. And they got to get in there and learn. I learned how to run this studio equipment through trial and error. And we got resources now. You got YouTube, you got Google, you got other studios. So use what you got.
Oh yeah. And that's like the ill thing about the internet. I mean, like, I taught myself how to play guitar mostly off the internet type stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's interesting. Like somebody, like, I saw some of the comments, like, they were like, oh, there's no gatekeeper. There's two schools of thought, I guess, kind of like there's no gatekeepers on the internet, but they're like, and then someone was like, there are gatekeepers on the internet. The internet is an interesting thing. The algorithms that run these like apps and websites, they're designed by people. They're designed very intentionally by people. Do you know what I mean? Yep. So the things that like get pushed to the foremost front of these like apps and websites, it's not a mistake. Do you know what I mean? Like the things that kind of, and also, you know, we're talking about the music industry, right? Payola is a whole thing. It's an entire. There's a dictionary definition. There's literally a dictionary definition for payola, as in.
Wait, but is there payola on the internet? Because I know, yes. You know, really.
Yeah. No. So like we're talking about like the internet. I would consider like this Spotify like in the same category as like the internet or like an Apple Music or whatever. Sure. The same way Cats was paying DJs a sum of money to get their song on the radio. People are paying these playlisters are getting paid to put these songs on the playlist. Like, you know what I mean? It's not an accident. Like this, like it's not an accident. And also, we just saw this. The New York, or it wasn't the New York Times. It was the New York Post, I think, just released this article about released this article highlighting all of the nepotism that exists in the entertainment industry. We also can't discount that. Like it's really about who it's. Gatekeepers exist, I feel like, at every juncture, because at the end of the day, all this stuff is run by people. None of this stuff is fully automated. Do you know what I mean? None of this stuff is none of this stuff is AI. AI was invented by a human being. There are cognitive biases that will never like disappear. You know what I mean? I feel like there's gonna be gatekeepers at any level. Like say TikTok. We'll take TikTok. TikTok, like when we talk about the internet and how it's like free source, whatever. TikTok is like the biggest thing on the internet right now. But it's like it's certain things like I can't get on like they will shadow ban they will ban certain stuff on TikTok. They will remove your sound like if you say certain things on TikTok. Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm like, oh, like I'll make videos about like oh, like fellas, by the way, like, you know, emotional intelligence, this is what's happening, TikTok will be like, yeah, no, bro, like no one wants to hear that. You know what I mean? And we'll take the sound off the video. It's what? So, and also like it's like algorithmic racism is like a real thing. Like that's like a real thing. The people that design these algorithms, they be racist, and that translates into their algorithms. Like, you know what I mean? So
terrible. I don't know.
So like, yeah, like really
about this.
Really, it's yeah. I say all that to say, I think there's going to be gatekeepers at any level.
Even if the gatekeeper is a paywall, you know what I mean, that's built in. You could go to Fiverr today, right, and you could pay for streams for your new release, right? So things like that do exist in this world that is now much more technologically integrated for your musicians of now. So it's just something to be aware of.
It's almost legitimized. It's
Yeah.
literally legitimized, like Fiverr,
Like the Twitter check.
like the Twitter. You can pay for a
Verified.
Twitter check. You can pay
Yeah.
people on Fiverr to stream. You can pay people on this little website called Submit Hub. Like you submit your music, and then they'll see if they like it and put it on their playlist. You pay them, right? You pay them to listen to the song, and then they can be like, "Nah, I don't feel like putting it on the playlist. Thanks for your bread, though."
Yeah, fact.
Like, thanks for that bread, though. It's almost
Yeah.
people's jobs. Like people's entire jobs on the internet and off is to be gatekeepers. You know what I mean? Like that's something that's built into, I think, our society, the structure of this industry at large. I don't think the internet, I don't think that diffuses the issue. I actually only think it exacerbates it, because now everybody can be a gatekeeper. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, as long as you got a certain amount of followers, you are now. Do you know what I mean? Like people will be like, "Yo, like post my stuff." Yo, da 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 da. You've become a gatekeeper now because you have a gate to keep. Like everybody can get their own gate to keep, so everybody gets to become a gatekeeper.
Oh my God. So I saw a question earlier from Lee Davis, hi, about spaces in our area. What's the story with our live action spaces and getting booked and getting gigs, and where are they doing it? What are y'all thinking?
I
Let's
think.
start with Saint this way this
Oh,
time. Let's
man.
change up the order.
Yeah, I like this question. So, for me, I'm gonna speak on the St. Pete area. So my band has been playing in St. Pete now for about 10 years. And just in that brief time, we've seen the landscape change drastically in terms of venues being available to other alternative forms of expression. So if you're in a rock band, metal band, punk band, you do hip hop, you do noise, you DJ something that isn't top 40, it's hard for you now because of the way that development has gone to be able to find a home for that. And it's really sad because when I first started coming to the city, I'm not originally from St. Pete, but I've been coming to the city for over 10 years now. And man, I'm telling you, any given night, you could bounce around and find so many different flavors of raw expression. And truly, that's what made me want to come to the city and made me feel welcome. So for St. Pete, I'm a little disappointed in the priorities, let's say the priorities of the city, and how that overlooks subcultures and marginalized people, which tend to be, you know, people of color, queer people. You know, it's just, it's sad, but we'll talk about it a little bit more later. That's really why we wanted to promote Lost in St. Pete, which is a festival for subculture, for marginalized groups of people. And we had to build many of our venues from the ground up simply because there aren't too many holding on anymore. So,
Okay. You know
yeah.
what? We do need to, okay, a couple of things. We have to watch your videos. I'm so sorry, producers, Ketsy, Roman. Hello, I'm so sorry. I've totally forgotten to run paper, and I know we were supposed to get to some videos. Can we do it? Awesome.
Lost in.
That was
That
Lost
was
in
like
St.
our first
Pete,
festival.
right?
Like,
Yeah.
Lost in St. Pete. Yeah, that's
Congrats,
it.
man.
Actually got the shirt on right now.
Yeah, shameless plug, shameless plug.
You know what I'm saying?
Pull up next year, Lost in St. Pete.
Oh,
Are
would
you
love to
doing
have
it
you.
again?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna do it again. Got to shout out Ian Tuma, Lost Creations, and Dia. Really, the three of us, and a team of volunteers. Some other really, really awesome artists from the community came together. We put that together independently. You know what I mean? And the heart of it was for everything that I said prior to that video. We wanted this to be in our city again. We're talking to people in our community and talking about mental health issues, man. Like, I don't feel like I have a place to go in the city where other people look like me. They listen to the same music as me. They dress like me. They can relate to me. That's a problem. That's a big problem. It's a problem when we have to go out there and do it ourselves out of our own pockets. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
yes, absolutely. We're going to do it again this coming year. And I'm just really, really grateful for the people we were able to really pull together to do it. And it was out in the Deuces. That was our main stage. We had another stage at the Lost headquarters, 7 venues in total, over 100 bands, local, regional, and national, 2
Wow.
headliners. We brought out Torch from Miami and Trash Talk from out of LA and beyond, man. So it was a huge, huge blessing, man, and an awesome experience.
Great.
No, yeah. Lost in
That's
was
awesome.
definitely fun. Lost in was dope.
Okay, what about other thoughts on live spaces, performing? What do we need? How do we change the landscape? How does the landscape need to change? Let's go there. Thoughts on the future of the music in our area. How are we doing? How do we need to do better?
I would think that you have to start with clubs. I mean, the club owners, they're for some reason they're under the impression that that's not the direction to go, and they have to be swayed.
Yeah.
You may have to go in there and play for a tip just to let them know and have a following enough to come in there and pack the door. They're about numbers, man. My experience, these guys want you to come in and bring 200 and 300 people and want to pay you this. And that's not really fair to you because it's all about promotions and it costs you time and money to promote. They should spend that same time and money to promote as well. I'm blown away with that video I just saw, Saint. I didn't know that it existed. I guess I'm in the dark, so I need to open my eyes and see what's going on as well. But I would think it would start with the clubs.
How about y'all? I
Yeah.
mean, Saint kind of talked to it about it. Aaron, what's your response in terms of playing live? What do we need? What are we missing?
So yeah, we've been like I'm pretty young in the game insofar as like playing live. It brings me back to the first time I ever like like tried to play my guitar in front of people and like sing at the same time. I couldn't make it through the song, and that was like 1, 2, 3. That was like 4 years ago. Like the was it ago? But yeah, like coming out here and playing live in Tampa, like I think it does start. I think the clubs are going to be a big part of that. The clubs and I don't know, like getting small venues. But like the thing about it is like, so we play a lot at places like the Crowbar. Like we played at the Crowbar, and that is really like the biggest official small venue we played. Everything else is kind of like more. People will throw events at kind of disparate different places, and we'll go and play there. Really, like when you talk to like people like the Crowbar, he's like the biggest thing is like making sure that like federally the small venues are supported enough so that they can like kind of stay open and do what they need to do. Like that's kind of how he feels as far as he goes. And I agree with him for the most part. I think infrastructurally there should be like, you know what I mean? Infrastructurally there should be support for the arts, like at a federal level, at the level in which, we all walk through the world and live and at that level. And also, they're taking arts out of the schools. Infrastructurally art should be like in our school system and in our education system. But we mostly play like a lot of house shows and a lot of like DIY events. So I'd say if there's any way to bolster that community and strengthen that community, the DIY community, that's really, I think that's really the bread and butter of a lot of it. So I'd say if there's any, I don't know how it would happen, but if there's any way to strengthen, like infrastructurally protect and strengthen the DIY community, to allow them to do more stuff, and allow them to do more pervasive stuff. Yeah, because it's like you said, like the club owners is like, they're not people are weird about like live music. People are weird about like live music. I'll leave it at that. Because like even in the hip hop scene, it's a little different. Like because you can kind of get away with the live part because you just play your record and sing over it. You know what I mean? But with like a band, it's a little different. People like getting into a club as a band. Like I'm sure in the backpack was like, oh yeah, we need music to come, so we're gonna bring this band in. But people are like all about DJing and EDM, so it's almost like a different scene. Clubs to me feel like almost a different scene than anything that we really like kind of are involved with. Like, I guess the opening for me, what I would like, just more space being opened up. Like if there was like more small rooms or like venues dedicated to that kind of thing, like specifically for that kind of thing, that would be awesome. For me, the thing is, I just want community. I just want to be able to like be like, yo, it's punk night at the so and so and so and so. Do you know what I mean? And we're gonna go and hang out there. Like I don't even have to be playing or whatever. Like so many, when I look into the mythology of like all these people that I studied, all these like different scenes like punk and like rock and roll in different places, like a lot of it comes from there was like a central space, a location, a hub, like a watering hole for people to come and gather. The mythology kind of builds around that, around community. So I think any way that we can strengthen community and kind of centralize community, that's the way to kind of like it exponentially bolsters, I think, the art scene around it, because once they're, and that kind of thing. So that's how I feel on that.
Mind if I chime in? Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with what both of y'all had said. And there was a word, I believe both of you all used the word protect. And similarly, how like I look at my indigenous brothers and sisters who were out protesting against the pipelines, and you're looking at, hey, let's not poison the water because we have to drink the water and we use the water and it's necessary for the environment. I've noticed in certain club environments or venue environments, there's this allowance for promoters to abuse musicians by way of like pay to play. Like, all right, yeah, it's cool, you can have this platform, but you have to sell 100 tickets and you get $1 a ticket or something like that, but it's not sustainable. Just like poisoning the water isn't sustainable, poisoning the music scene is not sustainable. So I love Tom. I love that you brought up the crowbar, because that is such a huge staple in the Tampa Bay area. And he's somebody that really, really looks out for artists. And if you've ever talked to him, he's probably told you to look out for each other. So literally, it also comes down to a social practice with ownership and being able to have the space. Whomever is owning the spaces, they have to operate correctly and not utilize that as a way to, circling back, take advantage or commodify these artists again, you know what I'm saying, locally and beyond. So I think that's what our city really needs.
This is a perfect time to go to the clip on the Afrofuturism Festival. Let's roll that clip. I hope some of you came out to Pinellas Diaspora Arts Project's inaugural Tampa Bay Afrofuturism Festival. Our two guys on this side of the screen, Saint and Aaron and his band, Pilot Jones, both performed. Guys, am I throwing you off?
What is Afrofuturism to you? The sound of the drum travels for vast, vast distances.
And believe that my voice does matter.
It's big. Why? Because when we talk about sustainability.
I'm here in St. Pete at the Afrofuturism Festival, first annual, and I'm here with Spread Love FM.
South Side always means black community. It's a code word.
Playing now, right? Anytime, any place, underwater, outer space. We are here to have a beautiful and intelligent discussion.
On purpose, for the broader audience of black people to see me in this role. It's important to understand that we're not just the ball player. We're not just that. We are far more than that.
I don't want to feel diminished by someone else's idea of who I am or what I can do.
But our inheritance is connected to a diaspora that is thousands of years old, and that our young people should understand that there are allies around the world, and they should be encouraged to discover those places around the world and discover relationships around the world.
This viewing party was so important to me because I think it is so important for us to celebrate not only our cultures, but to have spaces where we can do so amongst each other.
Also, young white kids have never seen black kids in books.
We need moments where we can share our joy, our pain, our triumphs, and heal and excel in everything that we do.
All right. That was by our partners, Dreammakers Productions. Thank y'all. So we're going to get our YouTube channel up. It'll all be on YouTube. We have the show. We have some of the performances. We have the panels, all that good stuff. Okay, now are we going to our game? Is there anything I know that it's like quarter of and it's supposed to be time to go to our game.
Hey, yeah.
I'm just reading notes. Okay, why don't we go to the game?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
The game.
So the game is you're going to watch a video and then I'm going to pick one of you to respond to the video, and the video has an Afrofuturistic feel to it. And just what
Began to arrive, must be 9,000 or more came through the door. The time was 11:55. There were pickpockets and dope peddlers, murderers and thieves, card shop gamblers with aces up their sleeves, bank robbers, burglars, boots and heads. One more faster for this queen. One more faster for this queen. One more faster for this queen.
Stars slung across the heavens, some might call her even my kind, call her leaning bitch, boy, it's a leading black star, mine's a scheming fulfill, all I dreaming, that's what's up, is eating extra, bacon bangers, brim bro, chain swingers, space cat, boys race, AK, that nigga lame, God smile on me, favors, baby, caught the vapors, magic golden perk, running like the 50 Lakers, self-shaded cream chaser in my ride labels, with crab bakers, super real, just like 88, but in 92 we grinded through. I was there, you're a square, please do not compare. If I'm there in the square, you should come and stare. Bring a two, learn a thing or two, how a king will do. Off the cut, fill my coffers up, pop my collar up. Dumb heat, titties gun beat, she gon' stir it up. Lean off of me, just
Okay, that was Shabazz Palaces. Who wants to take that one on? Oh, let Aaron know he froze and disappeared and needs to come back. Hiram, do you want to take that one on, Hiram?
I want to listen first.
Okay, who wants to take that one on? Saint or Aaron?
I'll take it on. I'll take it on. Yeah, that was a really interesting clip. I'd say to me, it it gave a few different things to me as I was watching. It felt kind of post-apocalyptic to begin with, almost like a dystopian type beat, like not necessarily like a bright, like we're on top of the world, like the world is kind of falling and crumbling. And when I kind of look at what's happening, sometimes I kind of feel like that's what we're going to end up with, unless there are some really drastic changes in leadership. So I kind of got that taste. And then it kind of turned into like these trippy sea anemones. So it felt almost like going back to the womb, going back to the water, going back to earth. And I don't know, it looked like a brother was like hitting a crossover in between the legs. It got kind of psychedelic and trippy. And then almost like he was being held by source or like the creator again. So almost going back inward, like a journey is kind of what it felt like to me. So I wouldn't have said exactly Afrofuturism, but yeah, slightly with some other themes sprinkled in. Yeah, it was complex.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next video. You each get one.
Gang, gang. Fuck this song. Come on, Sid. Love her.
Hey.
Them, love them.
Okay. That was the internet. So, Hiram, you want to try to take that one on, or you want Aaron to take that one on?
So one person can see, two people can see the same thing. One person can see a dove, another person can see a pterodactyl, because everybody has different perceptions. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at it, I'm into the vibe of where she's, the message. The message was that, and that can go from female to female to male to female and vice versa. It doesn't really matter, male to male. It's just, what I took from it was she was trying to reassure her partner that she was the one for her. That was her girl. And that's like a little stretch and a little homogenized, but that's what I saw.
I think
I don't have a whole lot that I can add to that other than just looking at the lyrics and going on the vibe of the groove. I thought that's what it was saying.
It is a pretty simple video. Aaron, did you want to say something about this one?
I did. This feels like one of those videos that's in the long line of traditions of videos like "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough." You know what I mean? Where it's like kind of like there's this kind of fringe kind of psychedelia surrounding and surreality surrounding the Black experience inherently. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like cats be tapping into that not unintentionally, but I feel like a lot of cats tap into that, especially musicians, even right. So people made jazz, right? And then some cat was like, bro, what if I can and then people made jazz, and then cats were like, what about bebop? What if we take it and make it mad weird, right? Make it super weird. And then John Coltrane was like, hold my beer, hold my beer. Let me let me look at this circle of fifths and let me be like, okay, this goes da 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 da. Oh, it's the same thing. Okay, sacred geometry. If I play this, da da da. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it tapped into that. Like, I feel like there's this like I feel like, and then you get Sun Ra, and then you Pharoah Sanders, but then furthermore, like once people are like, okay, I still want to like have it be like 4 on the floor and not so like adventurous insofar as like people can't understand the groove, right? So then you get funkadelic, right? Then you get like, okay, then we'll take it up and we'll kick up the attitude to like 11, to the point where it's like this weird, like this psychedelic experience. And then it kind of bleeds into the visuals. You get Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, which is a pretty straightforward song, right? But that visual is just like, what am I looking at? Like it's like this really trippy thing.
Okay, we have one more video.
Yeah.
Let's go to the last video.
When your heart is broken down, 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 and your head don't reach the sky, take your broken wings and fly. When your head is heavy, low, low, and the tears they keep falling. Take your broken feet and run. With the world upon your shoulders, nowhere left to hide. Keep your head up, carry on.
Sorry, we're running out of time. Laura and Beulah. Does anybody want to respond to that last video? Laura
Yeah.
and Beulah.
Laura and
M-B-U-L-A. Laura.
Oh, was that the name of the artist?
Beulah. M-B-U-L-A is how you spell her last name, Lee.
That was
Laura, first name.
as a filmmaker personally, I loved how cinematic the opening was with the birdcage, all the lighting following off of Sis, had her skin tone really looking wonderful. From a visual aesthetic, it was really, really nice to see. And then it was really well choreographed also in terms of how they were able to, stick some of this very traditional African dance movements with the arms and the hands and blend all of that to some really hard stops and stuff. So it hit on beat. I thought that was really cool, and it gave it a very rough and rugged feel, but it was still smooth and polished. So I'm definitely gonna watch that one later.
Definitely felt very spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I feel like
I was thinking more avant.
What were you saying?
Avant-garde type, just you can almost feel what it's like, Afrocentric. You can almost see what you can almost feel what you're seeing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it was very palpable. Well, we've come to the end of our show. I want to thank y'all. You guys were great. We're just going to take a minute now to recognize 2 artists that the Tampa Bay area lost in the last 2 weeks. John Sims, who's a visual artist, and also Nick Davis, who is a visual artist. And so any thoughts about anybody want to say a word? John and I were friends, and, he was a great artist and a visionary and did lots of political work, and you should look him up, John Sims. And of course, Nick Davis is, we all know him here. Anybody want to say anything about Nick at this point? Black is Beautiful is his project. And, you know, I would just like to take a moment to just say thank you to the creator for blessing us with these artists and the beautiful work that they will leave behind.
Yeah, for real. I think it's kind of going back to keeping that spark alive. I followed the work of both John Sims and Nick Davis a bit. John Sims actually had donated a film piece to the Juneteenth Jubilee, which was not a small event, but a very heartfelt event that me and a small group of people put together a couple of years ago. So nonetheless, between what he was doing and what Nick was doing, I see that up until now, they were still continuing to do the work that they were called to do. And I think that's beautiful that, you know, even with somebody like John Sims, or excuse me, Nick Davis, who, you know, I was reading in his GoFundMe today for, you know, the family and whatnot. And just, I never knew what he was struggling with, you know, in terms of his health. So seeing that didn't deter him from continuing to be passionate and create in spite of his health, you know, I just, it's inspiring. Big love out to him and his family, and to John Sims and his family too.
Absolutely.
Big love. I'm going to try to find the GoFundMe while we take it out. Just kind of looking at, oh, thank you, Ketsy, Roman, or Kim. Yeah, let's just take a look at these guys and think good things about them. They've left us with a lot of great work, very meaningful work, and you know, please do check them out. Check out everybody's link that we have been popping up. Hiram, you've got the school, which we really didn't even get to talk about, so we'll have to have you on again. Do you want to say something about your school? You got 2 minutes.
Well, I've got a few seconds. I'd like to say the Hazy Music School is just dedicated to kids that want to learn how to play, period. I'm going to teach you as much as I can and share the experiences that I've dealt with, and hopefully you get 1 or 2 jewels out of the whole batch, because everybody that starts doesn't finish, you know. So it's open. Please contact me, and we're doing what we can to give few music lessons, free music lessons, and for those that can, you know, that can afford it, maybe we can give them something affordable. It's just about trying to keep the message going. And to the 2 gentlemen that passed, I'm glad their works weren't invisible, because that meant a lot to them, their being, and their families being, you know. Nothing worse than doing a lot of work and no one's seeing it at all.
Yeah. How long has your school been around?
The school, under the name of Hazy Music School, has been here for 5 years, but the studio, Hazy Productions, has been here for 23 years.
Okay.
So we've been, thank you, we've been blessed to be around for that time. We were on 5th Avenue and 25th Street, right on the corner. So if you guys ever get a chance, look me up, man, and whatever I can do to help you out, I'm there.
Thank you,
on
brother.
the house.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all. Love y'all. Thank you, Kim, Roman, Ketsy, Barbara, Charlene. This is the Creative Pinellas team I'm shouting out right now, because we could not do it without you all. And Imagine Blackness. Yes, there's a show. Begins January 19th at the Gallery at Creative Pinellas. Aaron, you have an EP coming out, right?
Yeah, Pilot Jones debut EP. Jones. See what I did there? Great. Anyway, it's coming out. It's coming out January 21st, 2023, 7 days before my 25th birthday. I finally get to tell people I accomplished something. So this is good.
That's what's up.
Messing around. But no, yeah, the stream, it's Air Jones, coming out January 21st.
I'd like to thank Charlene for helping me out.
All right. Thank
Double
y'all.
thumbs up, sister.
We will see you on January 17th, I hope. Have a great holiday.
We stick around for that after party?
Is there an after party?